Hello, BookTube friends and book lovers everywhere. I am here to talk to you about David McCullough. My little David McCullough read-along is going along just fine. In fact, I just finished reading this one, The Path Between the Seas, and it was about the building of the Panama Canal during the years 1870 to 1914. Fascinating book. I'm not going to tell you too much about it right now because I hope to do a separate video about this book and about these other books that I'll be telling you about. The first one that we read last year was the Johnstown Flood. I don't know if you're familiar with my plans for the David McCullough read-along. However, the plan was and still is to read all the books in the order in which they were written. So I've actually read this one twice now. I read it first with Faith, I think it was about a year and a half ago, and then I just read it again last year for the read-along. The first book he wrote, the incredible story behind one of the most devastating disasters America has ever known. Fascinating. It happened in Pennsylvania. A dam broke. Yeah. And then the second book that I read, which was also last year, was The Great Bridge, about the building of the Brooklyn Bridge. His history books are fascinating. They are also kind of heavy reading. A lot of people have a hard time getting through them. If you are interested in history and American history especially, it's really worth trying to read them. I would recommend it to everyone. So the next book that I'll be reading starting next month, which will be March of 2025, I'll be reading Mornings on Horseback, which is a biography of Theodore Roosevelt. So the subtitle here is The Story of an Extraordinary Family, a Vanished Way of Life, and the Unique Child Who Became Theodore Roosevelt. So I read a little bit about him in the book on the Panama Canal because that was his project. So I am totally looking forward to this biography. Let me just check to see how many pages are in the readable portions of the book, not counting the notes and index at the end. There's only 370 pages in this one, so it shouldn't take more than a month to read. And then we'll be having after that a break during the month of April and come back in May to read this book, which is kind of thin, right? It's called Brave Companions, Portraits in History. And there's a little blurb at the bottom here that says, if you enjoy good stories well told about interesting people and places, you should read this book. You will learn something about history and also about good historical writing. That was a blurb from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and I would say that's so true that you will enjoy some good historical writing in these books about David McCullough, which is why I am so excited about reading them all in the order in which they were written. Now, David McCullough left us a few years ago. I think it was 2019 he passed away. It wasn't very long ago. So I think this is a great time to review the amazing contribution he made to the world of historical writing. And most of it is about America, though I did learn a lot about Panama in that book about the Panama Canal. Kind of excited about it because of all that's going on in the world right now about, the controversy about whether the United States should take back the Panama Canal from Panama. I think that was a really amazing thing that the president said that none of us expected. And I can sort of see his reasoning because, as it turns out, the Chinese are controlling the entries to the Panama Canal and also the Suez Canal and some other canals, and you kind of wonder why are all these areas controlled by Chinese companies, because You know, if there was an emergency and we couldn't get through the canal, that would be a disaster all in itself. So it was interesting to learn who built the canal, why it was built. Well, I should talk about that in another video, I think. And so the next book that we'll be reading, I think it's like June and July of this year. I'll be reading this biography of Truman, President Truman. Uh, like, I know nothing about President Truman. I just can't believe that the thickest book in this pile of McCullough books is this one about Truman. It's actually a book that won the Pulitzer Prize. And the blurb at the bottom says, David McCullough brings Truman vividly to life in this masterpiece of American biography. It is a superb political study and human history that was written by the Philadelphia Inquirer. And so that's what I'm going to be reading this summer, hopefully. Everything goes according to plan, and I certainly hope it will. So then in August there will be a break, and we'll come back from the break to read another biography, which is the biography of John Adams. And it's also a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Isn't that beautiful? So the blurb at the bottom of this one says, a masterwork of storytelling. And that was written by Walter Isaacson of Time magazine. So I definitely want to read John Adams. Learn more about him, because as it is right now, I don't know much about him. He was a president. So that's it. That's everything that I've got planned for this year in the David McCullough Readalong. There are some other books after that, but they won't be read until 2026. And so thanks for listening. I'm excited that I am actually able to get these books read on time. Kind of surprising to me because, like I said, they're very challenging to read, but also very enlightening. Well, until the next video, I must bid you farewell, and thanks for watching.